All right, the boys are back in town. We've been semi gone for a couple weeks here, but we are back. We're ready to roll. Hopefully, the Hogs are too, because last time they rolled out, it wasn't so pretty. Sit tight, we'll be right back.
Yeah, next week's going to suck for him, but other than that, he'll do it.
What is happening? Welcome into the Gravity Design Lab studio. Let's get into the show. All right, we're back. We've had a few things happen since we've been gone. I officiated my first wedding. We got our guy Austin is back in here in the fold. You had anything happen this past few weeks here?
Yeah, I guess you could say something happened. I welcome my newest boy into the world, Colton. He's in the other room over there trying to keep quiet, but no, he's here. He's good, and we're happy.
That's awesome. Everybody's happy, healthy, and ready to go. I love it.
Yeah, we got to watch our first Hog game together. It didn't go quite how we wanted it to, but and he was here to watch it.
Oh man, Ole Miss, that was terrible. So that game, that was the day that I was officiating the wedding for one of our good friends, and I was happy that I was streaming the first part of it, sitting in my car waiting on my food to come out in my curbside before I drove down to back in the woods to officiate the wedding. But I turned it off because I had to go in and get my burger because I was sitting in curbside. Let's go on a side tangent here. I was sitting in the curbside and I sat there for about 30 minutes and I was like, where's my food? Fast food. I'm like, come on, guys. So I went in, asked them. They said, here it is. Came back out. I mean, it was just a couple minutes. It wasn't long at all, maybe five tops. And they'd scored two more times. I was like, okay, I'm just going to listen. And then I listened to most of it. And then I was like, nah, I'm turning it off. I got to get in the right mindset to officiate this wedding, so I'm just going to turn this mess off, and it just kept getting worse and worse. So I was like, okay, I'm glad I stopped. Did you suffer through the whole thing, or?
Yeah, I did. I watched all of it, just holding out hope, and I started breaking it up to where I was like, well, at least I get to watch Singleton, run the offense for a little bit, and he looked all right, but man, it was a tough watch. It was one you didn't mind missing.
Jeez, Ole Miss may be one of the best teams in the country right now. All year, maybe not, but right now, I mean, their offense is clicking again. Their defense is clicking, and really hasn't stopped for the most part. I mean, they're good, which kind of hurts because they have their leading linebacker is ours, Pope Hall. So that hurts, but I mean, whatever. Good for him. Lane's kind of got it rolling down there, so see how long he stays. But be hard to walk away. I mean, he's got a heck of a thing going there. But did anything stand out to you in our game?
Yeah, it stood out, not in a great way though. It was tough watching both line of scrimmages, the way we got handled on both. Our offensive line couldn't stay. They couldn't hold blocks for anything, and then our defensive line couldn't. If your name wasn't Landon Jackson, you couldn't get pressure on them, and it was tough to watch. In the secondary, I think people were saying a couple of weeks ago when we played LSU, like, why are you not pressing them? Why are you not playing man coverage? And that game explained why. So people can put that in their rearview mirror.
Yeah, they can throw that question out, myself included. I was wondering because LSU, they were just like nickel and diming us, and then we held pretty good, really, in the red zone. We held pretty good whenever it got to that kind of bend but don't break style. We did okay for the most part against LSU until the end, and then Miss Ole Miss, we couldn't do anything. Well, Sam was saying in his press conference this week that they're still having like battles to see who's going to get in and play. So I'm kind of curious if we see some Bridges come in, the freshman out of Texas. I've always liked him this year, obviously because he's a freshman, but I've always liked how he approach the game. And the red-white game, he was out there hustling. Is he the best corner we have? No, but he has a lot of potential. So I'm curious to see kind of who's back there. We may even see Braxton back if he's redshirting this year. He might as well play if he's healthy. I mean, get out there and even if he plans to transfer. I mean, I don't know what he's planning on doing, or if he's trying to get more money. That's another rumor I heard. You got to get out there and show you're worth it. I mean, you haven't played it down. Why are we going to give you any more? Go on and transfer if you're not going to play. But you got 3 games left, so it's time to nothing to hold back now. It's time to get out there and play as far as that goes. But it doesn't get easy yet because we got Texas coming into town. Now, recent history tells us that we could beat them. Sure, I mean they were supposed to beat the crap out of us a couple of years ago when they came in, and we just mantled them. They're going to be a little more prepared this time, I think. They what worries me, my concern is every good quarterback that we've played has picked us apart, and they have 2 of them.
I like to see what T. Will's going to come up with this week because we've seen him do a little bit of everything. I think some things have worked a little bit better. I mentioned it just a while ago, but I think you throw out the man concepts and like the press because that obviously didn't work. Maybe if Braxton comes back, but if he's leaning towards doing the red shirt card, I mean, he played in the first 2 games. We got 3 games left, so I don't know if he comes back this game, if they're really leaning towards that, or if they just want to get him in and start playing. I mean, I like that angle too. I mean, he's the type of player that you hope he gets drafted anyway. So, I mean, does he really need that extra year? I don't know, but I know Sam likes to look out for kids, so I could see him doing that and making sure he's 100% healthy before he gets out there. But they got speed at receiver. I know they've had quite a few running backs. They've had a couple get injured, but they're really deep at the position. I know one of their receivers is a guy that Arkansas fans are familiar with. He's a wingo, so he's a freshman that plays for them. That's kind of tough to see because you really hope that we could have got him, but they've got some guys on that side of the ball, and then I think pretty much everybody knows their quarterbacks as far as Ewers and Manning go. I mean, Ewers is their guy. He had probably their best game of the year last week, or his best game of the year last week. He had 5 touchdowns, which I think they said was career high for him. He looked a little shaky coming back when they played Georgia, and he had been off for a while, so he's probably getting his feet under him. It's going to be a tough game. You're going to have to play like you did against Tennessee. If they could somehow remember that they play really well against teams that are orange and have a T in their name, I mean, because that's the best game we played, and we left points out against when we were playing Tennessee, we left points on the table and still won that game. They're going to have to play solid defense. You're going to have to get some turnovers, have some stuff break your way. Honestly, I feel pretty decent about the offense. I mean, he got to start off the Ole Miss game, he got backed up on the 1-yard line, took a bad sack that resulted in a touchdown. And then, he got a little injured going on in the game. Hopefully he's had time to rest and get ready for this game. But he has looked way better lately. JJ may be back. Hopefully Russell is healthier than he was. Offensive line's got to play better than it did a couple of weeks ago. But Ole Miss has been doing that against everybody. Their defensive line, they paid a lot of money for it, and it's paying off for them. They've got a lot of dudes on their defensive line. Offensive line's got to play a really good game, and I think we've got a shot. And the defense has got to not get torched like they did last time. We've said it a bunch of times, but keep it around 30, and I'll feel pretty decent about it. But it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, we need that kind of lower scoring game, I think, to really pull it out, because we just from a confidence standpoint, because they start putting up a bunch of points, like you said, our line, I don't know if they can hold up to have to score a lot. This is going to be another one of those revolutionary take here. Take care of the football. Run the ball. Control the time of possession. You do those three things, you have a shot. Because then it doesn't matter how many times if they score every time they touch the ball, as long as you do too, and you eat up a bunch of clock, and you don't get. This is a game you can't give them anything. You can't fumble it. You can't do anything like that. You can't beat yourself at all in this game because they will destroy you. And you got to know they're coming in. They're 5 in the AP. What are they in the playoff?
I think they had them as 2 because I think they're the top SEC team right now. But, I mean, on that same hand, the way the SEC looks right now, Texas does not want to drop a game. If we've got like 6 teams or 5 teams there at the end with like 2 losses, if you can have 1 loss, I mean, that's where you want to be sitting at. So they're not trying to lose another game.
Yeah, and they want to do it in convincing fashion. That's why I've been saying, with their 2 quarterbacks that they have, even if they get up big on you and they put in their backups and you're like, okay, well maybe you start thinking about the spread and you're like, well maybe if we can get a little bit going there at the end in the second half, like they've been putting in Manning in the second half, like half the year, and so other than when he started. So I mean, you think about that, their second string quarterback is a Manning that has talent, and so it doesn't fall off much. Like you can't let them get out there to that fast, quick burst of a score. Like you said, keep it in front of you. Don't get torched. So maybe we do go back to that bend but don't break defense that we had against LSU. I'd like to see a little combo of the two. Have some press with the drop back of 2 or 3 safeties even. I mean, have that deep coverage, but then have the press up front. So you have it covered up front, but then if you get torched, then you got help over the top. I feel like you just need that in general. But so talk about the spreads. It opened up at 16.5. It's dropped all the way down to 13.5, which is under 2 touchdowns now. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I was on the fence at 16.5 of taking Texas with the points to cover that. Now that it's dropped to 2 touchdowns, probably because, like you said, we're getting a little healthy. I mean, Green has practiced every day. Every practice he's practiced, so he should be good to go. Hopefully JJ gets back. I think Braylon Russell will be okay. As Sam said in his presser, he's fine. So take that for what you will. Maybe he's just trying to throw him off the scent, but it sounds like everybody should be decent to go. So maybe, I mean, if we show up, I said it earlier in the year, if we show up with our A game, we could beat anybody in the country. But we show up with anything less, we could get ran out of our own stadium again. Which is also another factor. I mean, we beat Tennessee earlier this year at home, but we still haven't looked great at home. We haven't for a few years. So it's gonna be a tough one. What are your 3 things that need to happen for you to think, okay, we can pull this out if ABC?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, football is a game to where there have been a few revolutionary concepts that have like kind of changed the game. Like, when quarterbacks really started running and you're able to do like RPOs, and then they have like exotic defenses. And I mean, you can get into all that stuff, but there are certain just tried and true things that has been said a million times in football. But the reason it gets said is because, I mean, they're true. Turnover battle, like you said. You can look simply at all the games this year. If Arkansas wins the turnover battle, or if they're taking care of the ball, they can win the game. Arkansas's ones, like their starters, are just about as good as anybody, but they do not have the depth, and they are not able to overcome when they're shooting themselves in the foot, when they're having to play behind. But if they're able to play an even game, they can play with teams when they're not having penalties or they're not turning the ball over. And you're not putting the defense in a bad situation. Hogs have looked good. So, I mean, it's like you said, turnover battle. So you got to cause a turnover or two on them, and you got to take care of the ball yourself. I think that's key. Secondary's got to hold up. I still feel really good about our front seven being able to, or I guess front six technically, being able to hold up and stop the run. I feel pretty decent about that. But secondary's got to hold up because to where I think Jackson Dart and I think Nussmeier are better than Ewers. He's not a slouch. He can dice you up. He can make passes. He's a very talented guy. He's a veteran now, so he is able. I mean, he'll win a game for him. I mean, you can't just let him sit back there and pass the entire game. And then I think third is we're going to have to be able to make a field goal. I don't know that we're going to be able to score touchdowns every single time. And I know you have to be able to score touchdowns when you can. But the only way we're going to win this game is if it's a low scoring game. If it's 52-51, I mean, that's I don't think that's in the cards. But if we can score on most drives, we're making field goals, and we can eke out, a game that's like, 27 to 24. I think that's about the only way we're going to win this game. So make your field goals when you get a chance, because that's a backbreaker when you miss a 40-yard field goal and all of a sudden they got the ball in the 30 and you just lost all your momentum. And that's happened like 10 times this year. So that's kind of hitting everything as far as take care of the ball on offense, make sure your secondary holds up, and if you got to kick a field goal, make it.
Yep, I agree. I mean, that's what you got to do. So what are you thinking on your prediction? You want me to give you mine first, or do you want to go first? Because I think we're both going to be bad guys in this situation, and so I'll dive on I'll go first, so that way I can soften the blow for whenever you come in and give yours. I think it's going to be 42-24. Yeah, Texas. That makes me a little sick saying that, but I think, and I'm good. Okay, that's my pick, but I'm going to be rooting like crazy against it, 100%. But if I'm betting with my mind and not my heart, that's what it's looking like to me. Okay, your turn to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of right there at the end. I was going to say if I went with my heart, like I think the Hogs can pull it out, but I mean, if I have to go with my mind, I think Texas covers. And honestly, I hate to say it, but it feels a lot like it's going to be like the Ole Miss game. I think the only way it gets close is because we're down like 28 points going into the fourth quarter and they let their foot off the gas. And it's probably something along the lines of like a 35-14 game or something like that. But if I had to go with my heart, like we've been kind of on a roll here of where we lose one week, win the next, lose bad, turn around and win the next game. But I knew this was going to be our toughest little set of games. Mississippi State was a trap game that we did what we were supposed to and win. But, I mean, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Texas, I mean, that's, there's not many teams in the country that have had a harder 4-week slate than that. And the Mississippi State game was an away game. I mean, I know they're not good, and I know we beat them, but it's not easy to go on the road and win, especially there where cowbells are ringing all the time. So even though I know there's a bye week thrown in there, but that's a tough 4-game stretch. So hope last time we did this, we were both wrong about Tennessee. I will be rooting even more against Texas than I will Tennessee. But going with the mind pick, I think it's Texas by probably 21, so they cover.
Yep, Yep, it's terrible, but that's where we're at. I mean, It is what it is, and I think we can do it. I just am not willing to say we're going to. My heart tells me we will, and I guarantee you, I'll wake up Saturday morning ready to throw it on the money line. Like we're going, we're getting it, but I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's just I'm gonna root for us. I'm not going to get too high on it. I'm not going to get too low on it. I just I'd love. I think now I will say they pulled this one out. I think we went out the rest of the way. I think we roll over La Tech, and I think we roll over Missouri at that point. Especially if Brady Cook's not healthy. I mean, no, I don't think. I think that's a very winnable game. But there you have it. If you stuck with us this long, like, subscribe. Let us know what you think the score prediction is. If you think we're crazy, if you think we're going to win, tell us why. I mean, give us some hope. You know, that's all we're looking for here. But until next time, congratulations on Colton coming into the world. Glad he's happy, he's healthy. He's been good tonight, so I'm glad he's getting his rest in. But until next time, stay blessed, stay passionate, tell somebody you love them, drop us a subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'll see you next week after a huge Razorback win over the Longhorns. Go ahead and get the checkbook out and write the $1 million fine, whatever it is, $500,000. Let them take the goalpost back down to Dixon. All right, we'll see y'all next week. Appreciate you being here. Go Hogs.